didn't really believe it yet.
I didn't believe it yet. I couldn't just believe that my baby was gone from someone's word.
Yeah.
Just allowed myself to go through those emotional stages, and then once I had gone through each stage, I was like, okay, you're fine. And it was almost like a ticking off process. And I just remember feeling like I was just wrapped in the presence of God.
But it was so good because we pretty much got administered to straight away.
We did. Probably because of all my acting. I remember sitting there being like, why do I feel joy right now? I was talking to God and I was like, I feel joy.
Welcome to the Honestly Us podcast.
Welcome, guys. This is our podcast called the Honestly Us podcast. We're so excited. This has actually been in the making for like 6 months.
Yeah, probably 6 months.
It's actually ridiculous how long it has taken us to literally press record.
We've had all the stuff ready for a bit of time, but it's just about creating the room, making the environment nice.
We had to get our studio sort of ready, and also like all our equipment just did not it just took a long time to come, and there was like complications, and then not only that, like we've just had so many complications in life
life's
recently.
Just been super hectic for us.
But we're here, that's what matters, and we're finally recording. Miles is also here.
Miles is also joining us.
Our dog.
Here he is.
He loves going under the chairs.
Anyway.
Is this awkward for you, babe?
It's actually pretty normal.
Pretty normal?
Yeah.
Because you've done YouTube videos?
No. It's because it just seems like we're talking. But I'm probably like not talking into the mic. I guess we talk about why we wanted to make a podcast.
Yeah. So for a while.
Why did you want to make a podcast?
Well, thank you for asking. No, it's both of us have wanted to make a podcast together for a while now. We have just thought of the idea of potentially starting a podcast and what that would look like. And then one day I just approached Michael actually after our camp that we do every year in the summertime called Beach Mission. I was doing spiritual input, and that's just like a lot of like speaking and stuff. And Michael was also doing quite a bit of speaking because he was a leader.
A section leader.
A section leader. After that, I was like, okay, I can talk in front of people for a long time. Maybe like this podcast idea is not so bad of an idea.
Yeah, I also think Bridie just had a natural ability at being able to speak to people so that they could listen and speak from her heart and open her heart to people. And so many people were moved by it. So she was so inspired to be able to share that.
Thanks, baby. That's really sweet. Yeah, I think I gained a new confidence. And I realized, actually, to be honest, I realized that God can use us way more than what we're allowing him to.
Yeah.
And I talked to Michael about it, and we then came up with the idea that we were going to start a podcast in the beginning of 2023.
Yeah.
We were deciding to do that, but then we went to Europe and so things got prolonged. But yeah, it makes me so excited that we get to do this together and we get to just sit down.
Bridie and I have always been, I guess, more vulnerable people. So we've had the opportunity to talk to a lot of people about things that have went on in our lives, and we've just been more open about being able to share like all of the kind of stuff that's went on in our lives to help people.
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of the inspiration for this podcast, being able to share with you guys, share with each other, and have some memories about what's happening in our lives.
And be honestly us.
Wow.
We also have been sick with the flu. We think it's the flu, could be COVID, we're not too sure. So we have a bit of a cough, but yeah, it's so funny. Every single time that we have said that we would record this podcast, we have gotten sick. No joke, we've gotten sick so many times. But yeah, we're finally here. So
a bit about us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got the thing.
So tell me, a bit about us, Bridie?
So my name's Bridie, obviously. I am not Michael. I am the Bridie side of this podcast. I have a YouTube channel and I've been doing YouTube videos for probably, I'm pretty sure it's almost 4 years, which is crazy. And I started with my sister Amelia and we did an interior design and DIY channel, and then it got shouted out by Mr. Beast, and that's a story for another day. And then we kept doing that channel, and then now we both have separate channels, my sister and myself, and I have kept up that channel on my grind, and I'm still doing it and still loving it. I did have a break though over this period of time in our life right now. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. I also have a job on the side to earn some income as well. And what else about me? I love being creative. I guess how my friends would describe me is that I'm not afraid to be vulnerable. I'm trying to think how Jessica would describe me.
Yeah, well, when she comes on the podcast, she can tell everyone.
Yeah. Michael, tell us about yourself. Who's Michael and...
Who am I? Well, I work as a high school teacher, and part of my life and everything that I have wanted to do and like really enjoy doing is working with adolescents and teenage kind of aged kids, just because I feel like that area is so neglected, and they're so in need of good mentors and male role models and things like that. So a lot of my passion is just about helping people, mentoring, and being able to build relationships with people so that, well, they kind of have someone else who does, I guess, care about them.
That's so
I love
sweet.
sport.
I'm very proud of my husband, by the way.
I feel like I'm one of the very few people who knows exactly what God wanted for them and was able to be in that position. So.
Yeah, like literally I went through the stage where Michael was changing from doing business to studying teaching, and I was just like, yes, that's exactly what you should do. Like, that is Michael. That is what he is made for and put on this planet for, is for the youth and being a mentor. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm very lucky. God bless me so much with the ability to just know that I'm meant to be where I am. Yeah.
It's cool. We've been married for 4 years now.
Yeah, we've been married for 4 and we've been together for 9 years.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Since
2014. Yeah, 2014.
Wow.
Been in each other's lives for that long.
Wow.
Maybe 2015 is when we got together, but we met each other in
we were
2014.
We're kind of dating in 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a long time.
Very long time.
Yeah, 4 years of marriage.
So today we're talking about something that is difficult but also needs to be talked about, and just like a time that we went through recently. Michael and I were pregnant, and it was such an exciting...
Yeah, we came back from Europe. So Bridie and I both had been waiting to have a child and waiting to start trying for a child for a long time. A big thing that we've been talking about to a lot of our friends and family was going to Europe, and because of COVID, that whole kind of trip and that kind of like season of our life was delayed. And we always wanted to go to Europe before we had kids. So when we came back from Europe, we started trying, and we were so lucky because pretty much in our first month of trying, we were able to conceive. And it was like probably one of the most joyful times of our life, being able to...
I'm sorry.
Behind that.
Miles.
Lars, we're recording here.
Mate, none of that.
Anyway.
Sorry to interrupt that.
I was like, really, why are you laughing?
Because I could really hear it, and I know everyone else could.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was such a special time in our life. I was about 3 weeks pregnant I was 2 weeks pregnant. After conceiving 2 weeks later, I obviously didn't know I was pregnant yet. You usually find out when you're about 4 weeks. And, we found out a week earlier. Usually I think it's around 5 weeks. But I really had this big feeling that I was pregnant. I was getting these symptoms that were just not normal for my body. I wasn't getting nausea or vomiting, all of the classic symptoms. One of my symptoms was I was getting gassy. And that was not normal for me. And I looked that up, and that was a pregnancy symptom. And I thought, I have to be pregnant because this is so weird. I never do 2 poos a day.
Oh my gosh, what are you talking about?
Well, some pregnant women love to know the details. And I just felt off.
She had some funny cravings. Like one night she just asked me for a bowl of boiled broccoli.
That was not when I was pregnant.
It was literally...
Was it? No,
yeah,
it wasn't.
I'm sure it was.
No, because I was on my period. I can't have been pregnant.
Okay.
Yeah. I had this feeling that I was pregnant, and if you have gotten pregnant before, you will know the 2-week wait where you have to wait until you can test, because if you test then you'll get a negative. And I was 100% convinced. Anyways, I ended up getting sick. I got really sick because I caught the flu. Well, I tested for the flu and COVID and influenza, but I was negative. But I had all the symptoms, and it could have been pregnancy symptoms, but I know who I got it from. So I think it was just some sort of sickness that I got. But I got really, really sick because I was pregnant, and so my immune system probably was already going through so much. And on the, I think, 17th of June, we tested to see if we were pregnant, and I literally was like, nah, I'm pretty sure I just have the flu. I'm just sick. And Michael...
I had no clue. I thought, well, something is happening. Bridie might be feeling something, but I was like, from everyone that we know, you don't get pregnant in your first time trying. So I was like, Bridie's probably going to get disappointed. Let's not set our expectations or our hopes too high. We've only been trying for a bit. So I have very low, like a 5% chance of this being a positive. So I was like... Yeah,
you were so chill. Like when we were about to take the pregnancy test, you were just so chill. And I was like, do you not realize this is going to like change our lives forever if it says yes? Yeah. But he was just so chill. And I was like, why is he so chill? But then we took the pregnancy test, we opened our eyes, and I had never seen such a red line there. I had looked at so many videos, and when you test early, you don't often see such a strong line, but it was so strong.
Bridie instantly cried, and I was just like in shock. I was like, wait, what the heck? We're actually having a baby?
Yeah. It was like the most beautiful, surreal moment in our whole entire lives. It was like that feeling where you're like, I'm going to be a mother. I'm going to be a mother, and that's something that I have dreamed about for so long. And it was just like such a big relief for my emotions because that 2-week wait was just so long.
Yeah. For me, it didn't feel real. It didn't feel real in that moment. I was like, whoa. Yeah. How can this be happening?
Yeah. Yeah, Michael was just in shock mode. But we filmed it, and it's such a beautiful video. And unfortunately, no one's ever going to see that video, which breaks my heart. So everything moved forward. We have our 8-week ultrasound.
Like Bridie had went to the doctors a few times before that, and she was like super healthy. We went to the 8-week ultrasound, and we were like there, and Bridie was getting her belly scanned, and like the doctor was like, wow, it's in the right spot. You have everything that you need. Like the baby's perfectly healthy. It's located exactly where it needs to be. And for the first time, we were both like, whoa, this is incredible. Like, we can see our baby.
Yeah.
You can see the scan. You can see, like, that's actually God's creation. Inside of my wife. And it was a really incredible moment to be able to see that. We got to see our baby's heartbeat, and it was beating perfectly fine. And the doctor was just like, yep, your baby's very healthy. You would just have to do another scan in a few more weeks, and we'll let you know how it all goes. Yeah, that was such a beautiful moment. It gave you like reassurance that your baby's healthy and you don't have to worry. So a week and a half later after that appointment, after the 8-week scan, I woke up to like some bleeding, and I thought nothing of it because I had already like shown some bleeding, but it was like, it's kind of normal. It is normal. Yeah. The doctor said that it's normal to get some bleeding, like to get some spotting, but just as long as you're not having stress. Like as long as you're not having like a lot of blood. Yeah. And also paired with pain. And I was like, okay, I just like took that on. And anyways, I woke up when we were 9 weeks and a half pregnant on a Thursday night. About 3 a.m. Yeah. I woke up with some blood, went to the toilet. It's like, it's a little bit more blood than usual, but I'm not going to stress about it. I'm just going to be calm and I'm going to go back to sleep. And then I went back to sleep and I started to like feel some pain. And I was like, okay, maybe I'm just getting like a little bit of like period cramping pain type of feeling, which can be normal apparently according to Google, but it can be concerning. And so I just tried to go back to sleep, and I could not go back to sleep because the pain started to increase. Yeah. And that's when I woke up Michael. Just like an hour later. Yeah, it was like at 4 a.m. or something. I tapped on his shoulder and I said, can you pray for me because I'm experiencing bleeding and pain. And that's when you prayed for me. And then we tried to go back to sleep, but I think you went back to sleep, but I did not. I was just laying there like... Well, you asked what to do, and then we were like, let's call Amelia or let's see who's available, or like your doctor or something like that. Yeah, that was like probably like 30 minutes later. I think you were sleeping for a bit. Yeah, and then I was like, Michael, I can't sleep. Like... What do I do? Yeah, what do I do? Yeah. I've never been in this situation before, and you instantly think, okay, is this where like I lose my baby? But also I just wanted to not feel pain anymore. I was just focusing on not feeling pain, and I didn't really fully think, okay, this is the process of having a miscarriage. And I called my sister Amelia, and luckily it was around like 5 a.m. and she was already awake feeding her baby Oliver, because I think that was her routine of the time that she feeds Oliver. And I called her and I was like, hey Amelia, I'm experiencing these symptoms. And I could hear it in her voice. She was like, oh, like, she wasn't panicking, but she knew what was about to happen. And she was like, I have this phone number for the hospital that she gave birth at. And she said, call this number because a midwife will answer and she'll tell you what to do next. So I call this number, and I remember just being like really chill, and just like... You're perfectly fine. Yeah. Like calm. Yeah, very calm, because I just wanted to do the process. I didn't want to bring in emotions. So I was just doing everything in no emotions, I guess. Yeah. And we had heard from our doctor as well that like stress and stressful environments is the worst thing for a baby. So yeah. Yeah. So Bridie was trying to stay as calm as possible, and she did a great job at it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that definitely did play in my mind. So I was like, I'm going to choose not to panic or anything like that. And then I called
the midwife, and she was like, oh, you can't call this number unless you're like further along in pregnancy.
20 weeks.
Yeah. So she was like, I'm going to transfer you to this other midwife. So I get transferred to this other midwife, and she goes, oh, you should go to emergency. And I was like, gotcha. So we get ready to go to emergency. I had already experienced a feeling of fainting before when getting blood drawn, because I had never gotten my blood drawn before pregnancy. And I do not like it because I just went without anyone there, and I got my blood drawn and I went pale white, and the lady was so concerned I was going to faint, and I really had to just lay down quickly before fainting. So I did not want that to happen again. So I knew if I had something sweet, I could like wash that down and I'll be fine. So I knew that. So I grabbed, even though I was feeling like I was starting to like increasingly get a lot of like pain.
Yeah.
And I walked to the pantry and I grabbed a bunch of apricots because we had no lollies in the house and nothing sweet enough. So I just was like, apricots, I'll grab them. And I put them in the Ziploc bag, grabbed my water bottle. That's literally all I grabbed. Little did I know I actually needed my wallet. And then we went out of there. I'm not sure what you were doing.
It was about 5 a.m. We were just rushing to get ready, and
I'm pretty sure I remember you brushing your teeth. I remember you brushing your teeth.
I think I was preparing myself to be able to go to work.
True.
Yeah, because I thought I would, well, we didn't know it was a miscarriage, or we didn't know what would happen.
Yeah.
So it was still 5 a.m. So I was like, well, just in case, I'm going to get ready to go to work.
Is that what you were doing? I was like, mate, your wife's in a lot of pain right now. We gotta go. Why are you brushing your teeth? That's why. That makes so much sense.
Fresh breath.
I did not have fresh breath. So we start driving, and I can tell my side, but then I really want to hear what you were thinking at the time. But when we were driving, as soon as I sat down in the car, I experienced so much pain. I have never experienced this amount of pain in my whole entire life, because obviously I haven't given birth yet. So this pain was intense. I felt like I was about to give birth. And mostly it was intense because I felt like fainting, and because I was losing so much blood, and I was already losing blood before this, but just like a little bit, but not as much as this. I also remember not being able to sit up properly. I really just needed to lie down, and I needed to lie down on my stomach with my head between my knees because I was just so scared that I was going to faint. We were driving and...
Probably for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, about 10 minutes.
The hospital was about 25 minutes away from our house.
Yeah, which was the longest time of my entire life. We had driven for 10 minutes. We were driving kind of on like a main-ish road.
But more like a back
street.
Kind of like, seems like a country-ish road.
Yeah, kind of like a lot of gum trees around, that type of vibe, and a lot of like houses with properties and stuff like that around. I was like, in my head, I was like, I need to get out of the car. I need to get out of the car. So we pulled over. I literally, no joke, roll out of the car, and I am on the side of the road on this grass right in front of someone's house. And I'm like in like, I don't know, in a position where like my head is between my knees, and I'm like making sure I like spread my legs into like some sort of split position because it was so painful in any other way. I did not have any plan but just sitting there. And I was like,
eating apricots.
And then I was like, Michael, I need these apricots. Because I felt like I was going to faint. And so I ate the apricots and I was drinking the water. And I remember that just being so difficult, like I could just not do anything. Like anything I was about to do was just difficult. And I'm pretty sure you were thinking like, what is she doing? Like,
yeah, I was like, okay, we just need to get to the hospital and like, hopefully Bridie's going to be okay. But she was in so much pain. Like I've never seen her in so much pain. And Bridie like usually can like handle sickness or handle pain pretty well. But she was like not coping, and when she said to pull over, I was like, oh no, like what's going to happen? And I was like, in that moment, I was like really concerned. I was like, oh, are we actually going to lose our baby? Or is she actually even going to be okay? But yeah, I was just trying to do whatever she needed to be able to get her to the hospital. And so I gave her apricots and I tried to get her back in the car. I was like, you can just lay in the back seat, but she tried, and then she was like, no, I can't do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember like saying like I had to be very direct with you, and that wasn't because I wasn't appreciating what you were doing. It was because every word that was coming out of my mouth was difficult. And so I was like, I just needed to say exactly what I needed. And you were like, we really should go to the hospital. It's like 15 minutes. I was like, I don't want to. And then I was contemplating, like, do I get an ambulance to come here? And I was like, no, that's ridiculous. I'll just be sitting here forever. And
yeah, it'll take longer.
Yeah, but hindsight, I probably should have just called an ambulance to pick me up inside of the house, because I would have been able to lie down, but I didn't know I would have this issue with lying down.
And you weren't in that much pain yet.
And I wasn't in that much pain yet. Yeah. It increased while we were driving. Anyways, I got back in the car and I was like, I just need to go through this. I just need to do this. And I was just like, okay, let's do this. And we got back in the car and I just remember seeing like lights passing and like dark trees passing, and I was like, I need to get to the hospital.
And Bridie was like asking for time reminders like every 3 minutes. She'd be like, how much time left? And I'd be like, there's 12 minutes left. And then she's like, surely we're around the corner by now. And I was like, no, there's still 7 minutes.
Yeah, I was just like, I needed some sort of motivation. Like my motivation was just like, I just needed to hear what time it was. I needed to know where we were going, so I had something to focus on, because if I didn't have anything to focus on, all I would focus on was the pain I was experiencing. Anyways, we end up getting to the hospital. I roll out of the car onto the road.
Literally, like, this is like the drop-off area for anyone in emergency. So, like, I couldn't park there, but Bridie needed to go in, and then she needed to like administer herself into the emergency section and go through triage.
And then Michael goes, you need to get out and you need to go to the ladies at the desk. And I was just like walking like a
crawling.
I would like walk a bit, then crawl a bit, and then walk a bit, and crawl a bit.
She was just like on the floor. And I had no idea because I was parking the car.
Yeah, and then I was like, what is he doing? He's leaving me. Why are you leaving me while I'm on the ground? Like, I was just like, in my head, I was like, this is nuts. Why is he leaving me? But I now knew why, because you can't actually park your car there, because if an ambulance
just the ambulances, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I get into the part where they admit you in, and there's all these people waiting for emergency.
It's not that many.
Well, not that many, but a lot for me to have all these eyes on me.
Yes.
I literally,
everyone's watching her crawling in.
Because I'm crawling into a hospital, and I just thought that's pretty normal. Everyone sees that all the time, but maybe not. And I was crawling in. I was in so much pain. And the lady at the front counter, she was like, you need to stand up so I can get information from you. And in my head, I was like, you do not know how much pain I'm in right now. And I was like, I will faint if I stand up. And she was like, you need to stand up. And I was like, how rude can you be? Like, I was just like, you have no idea how much pain I'm experiencing. You're just trying to do your job. I get it, but you need to work with me here. Like, I was thinking this in my head. And I tried to stand up. And then as soon as I stood up, I was just like, no, that hurts way too much. So I just like went back down to the ground. Anyways, she ends up pushing me over to the second lady that was next to her, which thank goodness, because she kept asking me to stand up. And then the second lady, she was just like, it's okay. You can just like I'll go on the floor. You can just yell out your details to me. And I was like, thank you. And then I was just literally yelling out my phone number, all these information of like...
While she's laying on the floor.
Yeah, and like all these people were like around, and I was just like, they can hear all my details. And anyways, I end up saying to the lady, like, I really need to go to the bathroom. And she's like, the bathroom's over there. So I go over there. My husband, Michael, comes in. And what happened?
Well, when I came in, they just were like, oh, are you Michael? And then they just asked for all of Bridie's details. They mustn't have got them from her. And then I was like, oh, where is she? And then Bridie walks out of the bathroom and then just collapses again onto the floor and starts crawling towards me. And I'm like, what the heck is this, Bridie?
So like, dramatic.
Yep. And then pretty much we get put into our own waiting room.
Yeah.
And Bridie's just like laying on the bed and then going from the bed to the floor, from the bed to the floor.
I hated that waiting room. I was like, just get me into the doctor.
Bridie's like asking for pain relief.
Yeah. I was like, they told me they were going to give me Panadol and she never gave it to me. And I was like, lady, you need to give something to someone when you're saying that you're going to give something to someone.
But it was so good because we pretty much got administered to straight away.
We did. Probably because of all my acting.
Acting?
No, I was actually in a lot of pain. But I was very grateful they let me in. I ended up getting wheeled to like the emergency room where they had the curtains and stuff like that. I remember the doctor coming in and he was just like sunshine to me. He came in and I was like, it was almost like I just felt rescued, and he gave me pain relief and I was just so, so grateful. And I remember just being like overly thankful to him, like saying, thank you. Like,
oh, she was so thankful. She was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the pain relief. Like, I feel so much better now.
Yeah.
Bridie was like, you're so kind. Thank you so much.
Yeah. He sat down and he was like, it looks like you're having a miscarriage. And that's the first time I have heard that word. Yeah. And it was like almost like a confirm that that's what was happening.
Yeah. And we didn't really believe it yet.
I didn't believe it yet. I was like, I can't just believe that without, and obviously all the signs showed it, but I couldn't just believe that my baby was gone from someone's word.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, I need like actual evidence, like an ultrasound or something like that.
Yeah.
We were just laying there and I was slowly getting comfortable and getting pain relief, which was really nice.
And then another doctor came in. He was probably one of the best doctors that we've seen, especially in the hospital. He came in and he sat down with us and he was like, look, there's a high chance that you're about to have a miscarriage. But he was like, I've experienced the exact same thing and I've went through this pretty much this exact process. These are the things we can do and this is what we're about to do. We're just waiting for your blood test results. And he was just really kind. He spoke from his own experience. He spoke from his own heart. And he was like, literally just gave us a lot of his time to be able to answer any of our questions and talk us through that whole process. And yeah, he made sure that Bridie was fully okay, and he made sure he said hi to me, and yeah. Yeah,
he was really sweet and caring and checking up on us a lot, and it was just such a beautiful process he was taking us through. It just made things feel like a little bit easier, but at this point we still like weren't really like convinced, and we still were kind of
talking about it together, and we were like, we were just praying together as well, and hoping that our baby would be okay. But
the sad part was when I felt like a lot of blood clots came out of me.
And you needed to go to the bathroom.
I needed to go to the bathroom, and that is when I saw our baby, which was really sad. And I just remember messaging Michael saying, like, do you want to come say goodbye with me? And that really hit me. I was like, wow, like, I'm no longer going to be a mum and no longer going to see this baby grow. That was hard, and it was hard to, like, open the door to Michael and just see him cry. That was sad. It was sad to just sit there and cry together.
Yeah. It was by far the saddest and hardest moment where we could be like, oh, this is the creation that Bridie and I made together, as well as what God gifted us, this baby that has brought us so much joy in the 9 weeks that we had it. Yeah. To actually have that reality hit us in like 5 or 6 hours just in the morning. Yeah. When we could have never predicted it. We were like, in that moment, we were just like, we said goodbye to our baby. Yeah. And we had to be like, oh, yeah, this isn't real. And we won't be able to see you again until we're in heaven. Yeah. Like, just thinking about that was just crazy to think. Like, the day before everything was normal and happy and exciting, and it just like all flipped on the head. It just felt not real. It felt really surreal. Like a week ago, we had all the news about the ultrasound and our baby being fully healthy and everything. Yeah. And we couldn't help but question like what happened in 1 week that ended with this, like. Yeah. Yeah. And that's when all the thoughts of like, what did I do wrong? Why did this happen? Did I do something wrong? And you think about everything. The doctor was really good because he was like, I've been in this exact same situation with my wife, and us as doctors, we don't even know ourselves. Yeah. He was like, to be honest, like, it's not your fault. You couldn't have done anything. You can't have done anything to save your baby. Like, we don't even know. And we can't even tell you like what's happened. There's so little research on miscarriages and why they're caused and things like that like you can't do anything but just try to look to the future and try again. Yeah. Yeah. And I think the most helpful thing to hear from someone, and I forgot who said this, but it's almost like your body's way of saying, okay, this baby isn't going to make it, so say goodbye now because it's not going to make it in life. And I think that really helped me and comforted me at the time. But yeah, it's so crazy. In the hospital, we were sitting there for like hours on end. We were there for ages. From 6 till 2 p.m, which is crazy. I remember sitting there being like, why do I feel joy right now? I was talking to God and I was like, I feel joy. Like, he just told me that I had a miscarriage. I just experienced that I had a miscarriage, but I oddly feel joy. And I remember thinking that's just such a bizarre thing. And I just remember feeling like I was just wrapped in the presence of God in such a horrible place. But I felt so much comfort. There was a lot of peace. It was so much peace. For some reason, Bridie and I, we were obviously sad and we were crying and we experienced the emotions of what just happened, but there was a lot of peace. And I think a lot of the peace came from the idea that Bridie was in so much pain, so we were so happy to see her okay, and she didn't have any issues or problems, and she was becoming her normal self again, but... Yeah, that was part of it, but I think there was also something supernatural. Yeah, definitely. It felt like that. We ended up staying there till 2 p.m. I had to get another injection in me because of my blood type, and then we ended up having really, really, really late breakfast. Yeah, we hadn't even had breakfast. We had breakfast and a lunch. And then we came home and we had the biggest nap of our entire life. But then waking up after that nap, I remember waking up and saying to Michael, like,
how can you love someone that you never even met? And I don't know, I think I was going through the process of parting with the baby, because you have this weird moment of like, the baby was in me and you talk to it and you interact with it, even though like, you know that they're not going to respond because they're so little. But you love it so, so much.
Yeah.
And then I think I was just going through this process of the baby's gone now. That was a really weird process. But I remember thinking like, I was like, okay, Bridie, you've gone through grief quite a few times in your life. And this is just another stage of it. And you know how to do this. And I remember thinking that to myself and going, okay, and all the stages of grief are like all these stages. And I remember saying to myself, let's go through these stages well, and then let's not dwell on them. I remember thinking that, because I was like, I do not want to go back to a state of depression. And I want to be healthy after this. And I told myself that I was going to be, and yeah, I just allowed myself to go through those emotional stages. And then once I had gone through each stage, I was like, okay, you're fine. And it was almost like a ticking off process. And maybe that doesn't work for some people, but it works for myself because I love lists.
I think one thing that also helped us was that we heard something about someone who had a miscarriage before, and they said maybe part of the purpose of having our baby and going through this whole experience was so that, like, over the 9 weeks of us having it, that baby could bring that much joy. We saw so much joy from our families and from the people that we got to tell.
Yeah.
That was the purpose of having that baby for that time. Like, we were able to grow closer together, to have that joy together, and see our family so excited. And we were also so happy that we had our family support and a couple of our friends who we had told when that had happened. So yeah, it was definitely good that we had told a few people. But obviously now it's still sad, and it was sad that we'd been so excited to tell our family, and we were planning all of these ways of announcing it, and
I know.
did all these cool ideas of how to announce it. We put
so much effort into all our announcements because we filmed it all, and we just put in so much effort.
And it was so exciting.
But it's sad because that was our first time telling everyone that we're going to become parents, and it felt like that had got stolen. But it's life.
Yeah, we're definitely ready to be parents. And I think that was a cool experience, having the baby and everything. It was we really are ready.
Yeah.
Bridie was starting to buy all these things, and we were just I don't know, I was even spending a lot of time with our niece and nephews, and yeah, you could definitely see that we were preparing ourselves to be parents.
Yeah. And it was so sweet. Michael also, his friend Josiah, he recommended some podcasts, and he was listening to the podcasts about how to take care of the baby, and he was talking to me about them, and we listened to them together. How
to burp a baby and stuff like that.
It was so sweet. Such a sweet time, and I can't wait to get back into that time again, of that feeling of getting ready for a baby. It just gave me so much joy to prepare my house and myself and the things for the baby. But yeah, very sweet time. Oh, actually, it was so sweet. Michael's his siblings made a meal for us, and his brother's girlfriend Carly and himself made some brownies and ice cream, which is Michael's favorite dessert. And they came over and gave us some. It was really, really sweet of them. And we just felt so supported and so loved, and just to know that they were saying anything you need and checking up on us. It's really, really sweet. Yeah, it was
we felt so supported.
We did.
Yeah.
We did, definitely. the next day we went to the beach.
Yeah, that was a good time. Bridie and I both were like, well, we need to talk everything through and just spend our time together so that we can recover. And we just went to the beach and we just had a little picnic on the beach and just spent a bit of time with nature and just talking about everything and crying together and and then having dinner. And
that was a really sweet day.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that day. Being so aware of God's presence while laying on the beach and just hearing the ocean waves was just
something we've always tried to do.
Yeah, but it was just nice to just sit there for hours. We were sitting there for hours and we wrote down, like, I have this pattern of way of like reframing my brain so that I will keep going and I won't spiral into a state of where I don't want to be. So I have this tactic where I like to write down things that I'm grateful for so that I can foresee the future and not focus on what's happening that's bad in the present. And it really, really is so helpful. And so we decided to get both of our journals and we sat on the beach and we each wrote down what we were grateful for, which I thought that was just such a beautiful moment to just sit there and we each wrote one.
Yeah.
And then we said it out loud to each other and cried. And it was just really sweet. Maybe we could get books and read out what we wrote. So this is what I wrote for my first one, for what I'm grateful for. I wrote...
We're not reading out all of these, are we? Just the relevant ones.
Okay.
Mine says, like, my car started working, and that's completely irrelevant.
Okay. I am grateful for the continuous love and kindness from my husband. He's so caring and knows me well.
And I wrote, I know more than ever we are ready to be parents.
Yeah. I wrote, I'm grateful that I get to draw closer to God in the hard times, and he always feels like a peaceful hug and brings me joy in the saddest of times.
Yeah. And I'm grateful that my wife always loves me, and I never feel like I have to doubt that.
Oh, that one was so sweet. I cried so much. I'm grateful that I know I will be a mum soon, even if it wasn't to this baby for as long as I hoped.
And mine was, I'm grateful we both have friends and family that really want to be there for us.
Yeah.
And that's mine.
Nice. And my last one was, I'm grateful that I will get the joy of raising a child with my best friend. I think we will do an incredible job and our child will love us very much. That was really, really healing. Yeah. I guess
that's our experience.
Yeah.
We were pregnant and we were so excited to be parents.
And we were so excited to tell you all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were 9 weeks pregnant and then unfortunately we had a miscarriage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, I know that there's a lot of people out there that experience miscarriage and no one really knows and no one, they don't tell anyone. It's not talked about. Yeah. It's not talked about. So this is why we wanted to talk about this journey, because it does happen. And also it doesn't happen as well. So, I just wanted to speak to those people that feel like alone in that, and that we are going through something similar.
Yeah. There were so many people like at my work and then also just in other areas who reached out to us when they found out. So like people who'd been through a miscarriage and we had no idea, and people who had experienced it recently, people who, so many people that we had no idea. But we had so many people that would just like, oh, I'm so sorry for you. Is there anything we can do? We've went through the same thing and we'd love to be there and help you out in whatever way and give some advice and things like that as well.
Yeah.
I guess we just wanted to say, like, to anyone that is experiencing it, we just pray and hope for a baby for you in the future. I know that it'll bring you so much joy, and we just hope that, it does work out.
And that day will come. Yeah.
Yeah. And then anyone that does have a baby on the way, just love and cherish it and enjoy those moments that you get to spend. Knowing that, this baby is given to you by God and is a blessing and a gift.
Yeah, it makes me really think about how precious and how crazy the process is of becoming pregnant. And I really think, like, my mind has changed so much. Like, we're going to love our baby so much, and we're going to be so excited when we find out we're pregnant again.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for listening to us, and I hope you enjoyed this first episode. Sorry if it is a bit of sad news for you guys to hear if you're our family and friends. But this is real life, and this is honestly us.
Thanks for being a part of Honestly Us.
I hope you guys like the name too. My brother-in-law's girlfriend helped me come up with this name. We were brainstorming some ideas, and I said I want it to feel like us, and I want it to feel like it's honest, like sort of thing. And then she was like, what about Honestly Us? And I was like, no way. If you would like to review and rate this podcast, give it a 5 stars, please, guys. Help us out. I'm sure you can do that on Apple Podcast and Spotify, and then also for the video watchers on YouTube. Comment down below if you have any other ideas of topics you wanted us to talk about. We really want to cover a few topics like dating, Christian dating, and our story when we were dating, boundaries, some things like that.
Even early years of marriage.
Early years of marriage, yes. So it's going to be a fun time, and we're going to have some great chats, and we will see you next time. Is that it?
That's it.
That's it.
Bye.
Bye, guys.